Hey everybody, it's TF Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another action figure review. This is going to be of the Bandai Tamashii Nation's Robot Spirits Mobile Suit Gundam Side MS RX-78-2 Gundam. In my video talking about my lineup for Anime Week that I made a little over a week ago, I said that I found the footage from my original review back in 2021 and I was just going to re-upload it basically. But after reviewing that footage, it's no good. And the original I had broke. I was able to get a replacement from Amazon where I got this. This is the replacement. I'm just going to go ahead and open it up and review it with the new backdrop here. So yeah, I have yet to see the original Mobile Suit Gundam. I know, I will get to it. I watched Iron Blood Orphans, like that quite a bit. I'll eventually get to Mobile Suit Gundam, and because this is the most recognizable Gundam, arguably, the whole franchise, I think it's okay that I have this one here, especially if I know I am going to eventually get to it. So I'll just show you the packaging really quick because I want to save some time in the review here. Some of you may have already gotten this one. There is a best selection version that is being re-released that I'm going to leave links down in the description below. We can try to get this. Having trouble finding other retailers that are going to have it though. Let's go ahead and get this figure out of the packaging. Here is the figure out of the packaging. This is a very solid figure. It's been a while since I've messed around with this particular figure, so I'm not entirely sure what issues I had previously when I did the review. This is just really nice. I might have overpaid a little bit when I originally got it, like 65, maybe 70 bucks. It's not much more expensive than what it's being charged right now, like 55, 60 bucks. Let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories, then we'll take a close look at the figure. To start off, we have the instruction manual here. Pretty much shows off all the accessories, how to use some of the accessories, and pretty much how not to break your figure. Other than that, these are all the accessories this figure comes with: a bunch of weapons, a bunch of effects pieces, some hands, as well as some connector pieces. And I want to actually start off with the connector pieces. So I have the rocket launcher here. You pop this one on here, which that feels like an older Hasbro Captain America clip. How you put that on the wrist sometimes and this will eventually break here. That is a concern. Essentially, there's a plug that this thing lifts up right here on the back of the figure, and you just insert it like so, and there you go. You have that kind of weapon storage for that. You also have something for the rifle. You see this hole right here, the space. You plug this in there, and how this works is when you're storing a lot of the stuff like the shield and the blaster together, there's this little slot right there. And you insert it like so. It kind of wants to fall out a little bit, but that's how you can insert that. Pop that out. That will stay in there sometimes. You just take that right out. We have different handles. You pop this one into this hole right here, and there is one hand, that can hold the handle here, and then you just slip that in there. Or you have this connector piece on this ball joint going in here. If I can push it in there, I'll break that. There we go. There's two different ways to use this. See this little slot right here where it's like a bit of a rectangle. You place it on the forearm right there, which I'm having trouble doing it. There we go. You place it on the forearm right there, and it looks like it's, you can move it around and pivot it on the ball joint. Or you can place it on the back because of that slot right there, and it will stay in pretty nicely. So that's all the connector pieces. Let's take a look at the actual accessories. Starting off with the hands, we have this tree of hands. Sometimes I mess up that word, tree of hands. Pretty much this is how you can store some of your hands on these pegs. It looks like, you have these pieces sticking out in holes here, so you can connect some of them if you have other Robot Spirits Gundams. So these on the bottom, these are hands he came packaged with, and you see that there's a hole in there. Oh, he can hold some of the accessories. The grip is really tight to where he really can't. So I just encourage using these as fists, because it just feels like the way that these are sculpted, they're really tight to where, they're like almost pretty much sculpted into the palm there. But they all are, done in a really nice gray color, pretty bright gray, and you have some lines in the different parts of the fingers and the thumb and on the palm too. These are more meant for the handles, like what I showed off with the shield, as well as the beam saber handles. So there's much more of an open grip to where you could place that in there. The way that this slot is shaped right here, that's meant for the rifle. It stretches out the hand a little bit, but this is a little bit of a softer plastic, it feels like, especially the index finger. So you shouldn't worry too much. I just wouldn't keep a rifle in this hand at all times. I would do it, every so often if you're taking photos. But you can see some better separation of some of the parts of the fingers and thumbs there. All that looks really good. A little bit of some panel lines, I think, in the palm. These are open sprawled hands. You can get a better idea of how those palms look as well as those fingers. Forgot to show up the back of the hands. Pretty simple in design, not much going on there. And then you have these certain posed hands that, you have the ring and you have the pinky going inward more than the rest of these. So that's pretty sick. There's even a little bit of detailing on the hands, the tree here itself, I should say. So yeah, I really like these a lot. Let's move on to some of the weapons. You have the rifle here. Very iconic for this character. Lots of nice lines. It looks like a little bit of a different color plastic here compared to the rest. You have gold in the viewfinder there, looking really nice. But all that different detailing, that just looks really good, especially like around here. I'm not going to go into what some of these inner workings would be for this gun. But this here, there is the barrel, and you can use this for one of these effects. You use this effects piece for that weapon, and you see where it just like swells up here and then it shoots out a thin stream here, and it's a pretty sturdy plastic, and it is a pinkish, reddish, it's mostly pink, translucent plastic. You just carefully, if I could do this while looking through the camera, pop that in there. And if you mess around with this too much, it will probably break off in there, so just be careful. But yeah, this is sick. You have these pieces that pivot or hinge really, and then this part hinges too. I like that a lot. Here's the shield. It's casted in, it's different parts that are like sculpted together or glued together, but you have this part that's casted in red, which looks like it has some type of matte finish to how they, printed that out. Not really printed, but molded that, and you have this separate yellow piece that's painted on there, looking nice. I like how the red came out too. This part is a molded red, while the rest of this on the outside is painted white. I think I called that red just a second ago. That is definitely white. Promise I'm not colorblind. That's what the inside looks like. There's not much going on with detailing except for around here where you put some of the attachment pieces. There's even some like rivets, or what would be rivets, around here. So all that I think looks really good. I dig that a lot. The bazooka, if we could take off this connector piece, or really just rocket launcher, it's not really a bazooka, has some light gray sculpted and then some separate white connected to it, pretty much like all sculpted together or glued together. There's a opening right here. I guess if you have an exhaust effects piece, you could pop that in there. Actually, no, this is where the exhaust would be. I'm dumb. And I thought this would be a hole right here. This is where you would put this effects piece. So, actually, that just feels like it doesn't want to fit in there. So, there might be some other effects pieces you use. They have, like, separate effects piece bundles that Tamashii sells for Gundam weapons. This one kind of fits in there, but doesn't look right. So, yeah, not entirely sure what's going on with this one. But this is a really nice looking rocket launcher. This part of the handle pivots up and down. This can go up and down too. Really nice details in the back here. Nice lines. This would go over the shoulder. Nice panel lines in some areas. I really dig that. Let's move on to the rest of the accessories, which are just very basic effects pieces. You have these pinkish purple beam saber ones. He comes with 2 beam sabers, so you get 2 of these. And they're all, painted and molded pretty well. The way they put that paint on this translucent plastic looks really sick. And I have this longer handle right here. You would just pop that in there and it fits pretty nice onto all the different beam saber handles. And there's not much going on to this except for some of the sculpting you see here. It's just mostly molded in this white color. This is a swooshing type of effect. If I could pick it up. Swooshing type of a effect that's translucent pink. If he's like slashing. That's really cool. It's a little bit flat right here, the way it's sculpted. So I really dig how this one came out. If I can focus up a little bit better. We're getting close to the end, I promise. These thruster pieces are in a translucent blue plastic that's actually painted on here. However they painted on this translucent, I mean, I think it's molded, but some of it feels like it's painted on here. If they painted on here and they still made it look translucent, that's really impressive. You can see my finger through there. Actually rotates right here. Trying to grab it, it's a little bit difficult. It rotates right here at this base part. And essentially, these thruster pieces right there have these holes where you can just port in. And I'm not doing the greatest job right now. But yeah, it takes a little bit of force, which you have to be careful with, of course. But you can move it around a little bit, pivot it in there. The last one I want to talk about is this chevron piece that shoots off these small rockets, which is all molded in this translucent plastic. It gets a little bit darker here with the red going into the orange. But as you can see here, the white is painted on here. I'm not going to do it on camera. That's one of the reasons why this broke, is I was interchanging this. You just pop this off very carefully, and then you pop this on there. Let's go ahead and measure out this bad boy. We're looking at a little over, or maybe right at, actually a little under 14 centimeters, it appears. So inches wise, that's going to make it a pretty short figure, like 5.5 inches, I would say. I mean, that's pretty standard if you're going to get like a model kit. But if you're familiar with the Gundam Universe line that you can find like Walmarts and Targets for like 25 bucks. Sorry, I have to focus that up there. Yeah, that's pretty short. But I think most of people's, I think this 1/144th scale, I think most people's Gundam collection is going to be that. So, and then I think there's like 1/60th. I forget all the different scales. I really like this figure. It comes through really nicely. These are the anime colors, and I think it looks really good. The gold, as you can see in the eyes, comes through really nice. You also have really nice red. A lot of different separations going on here. Essentially, almost anywhere you see a different color, it has a sculpted line separating it, and I like that. Where the chin is and where the red is right underneath the eyes, you have the black, what would be mouth vents, and then the side vents right here. Well, it has some pretty nice consistent paint. The yellow right next to the chevrons, all the red on the chevrons, and the white paint here. I think it's actually molded in white plastic. All that looks really good. This is the exact chevron I broke, so I'm going to be extremely delicate here. But yeah, I really like how all this comes through. I might have to turn the brightness down a little. See some panel lines down here, or all the way around the base of the head. Mostly like right here. And here, where my fingers kind of get in the way. If you lift that up, that piece here does not move. So actually, that kind of helps. Because if this was all just like sculpted like this, there was no head articulation. So I like how they did that. It has a little bit of weird gappage and weird exposed joints when you do that, but I think it still looks fine. When you get to like the blue, that really nice brighter blue here looks really good. The yellow up here I think could look a little better. There's not much paint, honestly. It's mostly molded in this plastic, but a lot of times the molded plastic still looks really good on this. You may want to put like a black wash eventually on this if you want to bring out some of these details. That's more for a model kit thing though, since that's like, those are like 11 to 15 bucks at like a Target sometimes. Where these beam sabers port in, it's very simple. You can see that hole right there, and then you just fit that with the corresponding hole. You can see some of the details in the beam saber handles, and these actually hinge forward and back like so. Lots of nice panel lines around this backpack piece, and you have those thrusters like I showed off earlier. Digging that a lot. This gray plastic looks pretty good actually. Some of the joints are pretty exposed when it comes to how, you know, there's some of these are metal joints here, so it's hidden a little bit better here. But like on the, actually it's not. You would have to look pretty hard. This can cover that, but the back of the shoulders have metal exposed there. It's not a big complaint. It's just, you know, that's a thing to notice if you're getting this. If this is somehow a deal breaker with you, which I don't remember how I'll pull it out later towards the size comparisons. I don't really know how the model kits joints look, but they don't have metal on them definitely. You know, it's fine. It's something I thought would be worth pointing out. Lots of nice panel lines in the white, in like the forearms. The light, I think, is just getting in the way of some of these details that are on the white plastic, though. Shoulders looking pretty good. These yellow vents I forgot to mention on the chest. I'm just kind of going around here real quick to see if I've missed any details on the top of the shoulders and the back. There's even details when you bend the elbow there. I like that. Looks like we only have... No, we have a hole right here, too. These are those hands this figure came packaged with. So that looks nice. Now we finally get down to some actual red here. You see the red in what would be the stomach, and it's all separated pretty nicely. The articulation here is not great, which we'll get to the articulation later. Because of how it's all sculpted, it's still, you know, it looks fine still. Let's pop that down there. And yeah, it sticks out a little bit where you see that. But, I mean, it's on the back, so you're not going to notice it too much. Not a big fan of this printing right here, where it's just super exposed. I'm not sure where they could have put it differently. Maybe if they put it on the feet, then it would have gotten in the way of the detail of the bottom of the feet. So I'll forgive it for now. They have to put that on there like a bunch of companies legally. Now we get to the front. Whatever's going on with this logo on the crotch here, I think there's a little bit of mismatched yellow paint, but it doesn't look that bad. I just noticed it. You have to look really close to see that. You have these yellow sculpted pieces here for these panels that actually do pop out and they hinge. And there's actually a little bit of a ball joint going on there. I'm going to be careful with that. Something didn't feel right just now. I think, no, it feels like these don't want to pop out though, these side panels. I wish they kind of did, so that, cause this just gets in the way of leg articulation. But this, what would be a skirt piece, looks really good. I say what would be a lot because I just don't know what some of these inner workings are in the Gundam universe. I don't know if they go through some of this like anatomy of a Gundam in the shows. They could, but probably not all, you know, every single part of a Gundam. But, you know, let's lift this one up here, and you do see a little bit of detailing. You can see a lot of metal going on in here for the articulation, which it's all hidden, so that's fine. But you see, you know, a little bit of detailing on the gray here for the hips. Going down to the legs, just drop the accessory. Man, I gotta turn that down a little bit more. I'm gonna turn up the brightness in a second, but you can kind of see see a little bit better those panel lines I'm talking about in the white on the plastic. You have whatever these little like servo things are. I'm not entirely sure what these are. I'm probably completely inaccurate on that, but they stick out, but they look good for the you know, the type of detailing and the way that this design is supposed to go. You have these weird looking kneecap things that are actually separated from different parts. You see that? You see that? That's actually pretty sick. There's some nice panel lines there. What would be the calves? I should just say calves. I shouldn't say what would be because these are calves. Again, nice panel lines. It's just all molded in this kind of, you know, one color of plastic though. So there's really not much shading going on, but that's, you know, I guess how it looked in the anime. That's fine with me. That's just something I wanted to point out. This is what the back of the knees look like. And that's the most exposed I think you can get with these joints, is the metal on the back of the feet. These little, whatever these disc pieces would be that are covering the ankles, these are a little bit flimsy. Then you get down to like the white on the feet and then the red, which has a lot of nice detailing. You can actually port in some of those blue effects pieces here if you wanted to, and maybe some other effects pieces you can buy later on down the line. So yeah, all that. I think all this looks really good. I think the sculpting looks great. You know, I don't think there's that much paint besides like in the face and like even in the crotch. But it still has, the way that this plastic is molded, I think it all still looks really good. Let's go over articulation. Like I mentioned earlier, the head can pop up. It can swivel here. And it feels like, how am I going to get a neck pivot? I think there's a little bit of a ball joint going into the neck, into the torso, I should say. It maybe pivots at the top of the head too, but I can't get that great of range of motion to pivot. The side to side and the up and down is fine though. The up, you see that goes really far. And if you shimmy it a little bit forward, it can look down a little bit, but not by a lot, unfortunately. It looks like we have these fixed pegs that have a ball joint at the end. So there's no butterfly joint basically. It's like a socket. But you do have rotating arms all the way around. They do go in and out all the way. Upper arm swivel, let's say upper thigh swivel. Double joint elbows bends all the way. That's fantastic. Swivel here at the forearm. You have the standard wrist articulation because of how everything is sculpted with this blocky piece of the forearm and how how much space they gave at the wrist. It really just hinges forward and back like that, and then up and down a little bit. There's not much range of motion there. So we have some weird stuff going on with the abs and the stomach. Up and down a little bit, and it can rotate I can maybe get it all the way around, but stuff starts snagging, and I'm not going to risk breaking that. But it rotates right at the waist here. I think I already mentioned these parts go in and out. Because of this piece moving, it allows to kick it. Oh, that popped out. Unfortunate. That can pop right in. Looks like I didn't break anything. That's awesome. But yeah, just be wary of that. It looks like it pops out all the way like this. It can go back a little bit, but these pieces, I don't know what's going on here. It looks like they don't want to move at all. The in and out is not fantastic. I think it has a little bit of drop down, but not a lot. Upper thigh swivel. You do get double jointed knees that actually work really well. And then we have a rotation here at the ankle. It's on a ball joint going into the calf. We have a traditional pivot like with Toy Biz Marvel Legends. What else is there? This piece is a separate piece and it likes to pivot up and down a little bit. It's a little bit on a ball joint that goes into here. And this just doesn't really work all that well, if I'm being honest. But we do have a toe hinge. It's not the greatest, but it's fine for what it is. For size comparisons, on the left, we have the model kit I was talking about. You can still get at Target for like 11, 12 bucks, and I think it's a really good deal. They're both pretty close in scale with each other, but as you can see, proportions are a little bit different and colors are a little bit different too. Right next to the middle one on the right, that's the Gundam Universe one. That is like more 6-inch, like 6.5-inch style. This one's been sold out for a while, I think. I wonder if they'll ever re-release it. But you can just see how much taller it is compared to the one in the middle. Far left, Marvel Legends Black Suit Spider-Man. It's going to tower over the side of Mess in the middle. Far right, we have the Robot Spirits Ava Unit 1. And I don't know how accurate the scaling is. I don't know if an Ava is supposed to be taller than a Gundam or vice versa. You can just see how tall Ava Unit 1 is compared to the side MS in the middle. Overall, this is a really awesome figure. The biggest question you have to ask yourself is this. Can I get just as much enjoyment out of a model kit or a Gundam Universe one, which again, that one in particular has been sold out for a little bit, compared to the side MS? If you say yes, then I would recommend just getting a model kit if it doesn't matter that much to you. If you want a higher quality Robot Spirits RX-78-2 that comes with really nicely detailed accessories and a ton of different accessories, effects pieces, connector pieces for some of the weapons, as well as different hands, which you get different hands with some of these figures, of course. I use other RX-78-2s. Then, you know, this is one to consider. And again, it's getting a best selection re-release. I really like the colors on this. The articulation is really good, save for maybe the head and maybe the torso. All the different parts you can use for this figure is really sick, though. And it does have really great details. You know, the molded plastic instead of paint can be a turnoff for some people, but the way it looks, I still think it all came out really nice. It still feels like really nice quality plastic here. I don't exactly remember how much mine was when I got it back over a year and a half ago. At this point, I think I overpaid a little bit compared to what you can get now for you know, the best selection re-release. So I would take advantage of that if you're going to get this figure. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figure, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I'll see you guys later.